Hey, music community, Jeff here again. This time around, we're going to tackle a couple things that have come in recently. And again, actually, the ones I'm showing here are all, again, Amazon deals. These are items that have dropped in price that I've been monitoring on their site that dropped in price, all of them under $20. And I decided to make the leap and buy them. And so a couple of them, I had some extra credit on there. And so that prompted me to buy one of these or one or two of these using that credit. But even so, I bought ones that were dropped in price that were worth buying at that time. So Legacy of Kings by Hammerfall. This is the second Hammerfall album they released, mid 90s. When was this? 90, I don't know. Anyway, mid 90s. The reissue of the album from within a couple years. It's on this splatter black, and it's clear with black and red splatter there. And the thing with this, the price dropped to like 14 bucks. As you can see, maybe you can see, maybe you can't see. The corner is kind of bent there. So it lowered the price to a mere $14. Everything else brand new and shrink wrap, etc., etc. So it is a gatefold. Been a big fan of Hammerfall since I bought their first album, and I admit I bought their first album solely because it had a cool looking knight on the front. They have this mascot that's this knight character, and he was on the front. I thought it looked really cool, medieval looking. Took a chance, fell in love with it. Have bought everything since then, and now I'm just going back and trying to pick up some of the vinyls. And here we got this one here. So again, a little ding there, but a brand new release. So I grabbed that. Same thing here. This one dropped, and I just had these on my list, and I'm like, okay, it's a double record set. This is the first album by Avenged Sevenfold, and it's one of those handful of the modern bands I kind of ignored throughout the 90s and stuff. I kind of went into more Euro metal, went overseas, ignored a lot of the uh, hard bands that came out throughout the 90s. I was really turned off by the grunge and the alternative and all that, and so I really kind of ignored most of the bands in the 90s and turned my attention to either bands from the 80s that were still producing music or bands overseas that were still in the melodic metal and power metal. But anyway, Avenged Sevenfold was one in recent years that, everybody's like, they got that 80s feel and blah, blah, blah. So I have, and one of the guys in my band years ago, used to be a big fan of theirs. So I've listened to them on and off over the years. So I have them in my wish list, watching them for the vinyl reissues. This is actually a 2023, I believe, 2023, 2022 reissue of the vinyl reissue from like 2008 or so. It is a double record set, so that made it's on purple, um, double record set. When it dropped down to under $20, it made it worth grabbing. It's a gatefold, and yeah, double record set. So when that popped up and I saw that it had dropped down to that, I went ahead and grabbed that. I have their best of album, and I have their Nightmare album with Mike Portnoy. So I'm really, kind of shy on the, a little shy on the amount of albums I got by Avenged Sevenfold. But so when they dropped down in price, I went ahead and grabbed it. This one, I'm going to totally blame Aaron Muta Alamere on. Everybody pretty much should by now know who one of his favorite bands are. He's turned so many people onto him. And I admit, another band that from the 90s that I totally ignored because I lumped them in with that whole alternative rock and all that stuff that was going on. And I just zoned out. I didn't even give these bands a chance. There are so many bands that I have went back now and realized, you just kind of blanket ignored that era. And I did that. And I admit I was wrong in a lot of cases. This band has been around since like 93, and I had never given them any chance to do anything until you constantly hear Aaron showing love for them. And so I'm like, I need to check these guys out. Then another friend of mine, the singer from Moonshine Zombies, which is a band that I have not only did an interview here on my channel with him, but also have shown their two albums. I described his vocal style as Danzig with a little Elvis. Now he mentioned to me, said, yeah, he gets that, but he also gets a comparison to Clutch. I'm like, I don't listen to Clutch. I guess we're talking about Clutch now. I should let you know. We're talking about Clutch. And so he said, yeah, I get a lot of people saying that I sound a lot like that. So I went and started listening to some other Clutch albums. I'm like, oh my gosh, you definitely sound more like Clutch than Danzig, but even Clutch sounds, there's a little bit of everything there. I'm listening to this the other day and I'm like, wow, I hear my buddy John from Moonshine Zombies. I mean, there is a connection there. So Clutch, one of Aaron's favorite bands. This is the first Clutch album I've ever purchased. Aaron did send me a Clutch CD a while back. It was a live DVD type thing, but this is the first Clutch album I've ever purchased on my own money. Now, this is their most recent release, 2022, The Sunrise on Slaughter Beach. I read some reviews. People, longtime fans, love it or hate it, and so I've listened to it. I think it's good. Maybe there's better ones. There is a couple that I've listened to online, totally drawn a blank on now, that my friend said, you need to check out this one and this one and this one. There's some other heavier stuff. They are one of those bands that changes sounds occasionally. They have a little more alt sound. Sometimes they have a little more metallic, heavier sound. So they do go around in changing in styles at times. And so, I haven't heard enough of their stuff to know, is this this era sound or that era sound? But this dropped to $17, and I think this was one of the ones I used the credit to get. Yeah, so I thought for $17, I'm going to go ahead, make the plunge into this. Like I said, the one or two other albums that I know I've listened to online that are a little bit on more aggressive side. I have those on my wish list, but basically it's the luck of the draw. Whenever one of them drops to my threshold, I get an email, I act. So I'd watched this one, it went down under $20, but then the other day when I had the credit, this one was down to 17. I made the plunge and grabbed it. So my first Clutch album, and it's all Aaron's fault. So if I end up having to buy this big catalog by these guys and I go broke, it's all Aaron's fault. Anyway, great stuff. That's what we do this for. That's why we watch other people. We learn about bands that we probably have ignored. And I have learned so much from so many channels, even about music that's not in the hard rock field. I listen to people sing praises of a band that they love, and I'm inclined to stop what I'm doing. Go check them out. Pull them up on YouTube. Pull them up on Spotify. I've done that to so many bands and found, wow, this may not be my normal music. I probably never would have discovered these guys because I do not even listen to this style of music. But so-and-so is just singing their praises. And then I go check it out. And I'm like, wow, it's just, you hear stuff that you didn't know. And bands that you just have ignored that other people are ranting and raving about, you just like, I need to check that out. Happens all the time. That's what we're here for. That's what the VC's about. I will be back with some other stuff, but that's all for this one. Thanks a lot for watching. Rock on and rock hard.